You're listening to The Osiris Munir Show, only on LA Talk Radio.
Hey, my kindreds. I've been calling people babykins. What else is my new name? I have a hard time doing and saying the same words over and over. That's just me and my brain and how it works. But welcome everyone to the Osiris Munir Show. We're no longer 15 minutes because we go now. Now we're from 15 to 50. That's what I should have named the show, 15 to 50, because now, that's who we are. We're doing really good up here. I want to do a shout out to our sponsor, Kevin Pike, Coldwell Banker. Hey, Kevin. Senior Real Estate and Probate Specialist, Coldwell Banker, 818-571-1508, 818-571-1508. Kevin Pike is a wonderful human being. So let's get into the show today. Let's see, what do we want to talk about out there in the current affairs? I want to give a shout out to the families of people who have experienced any kind of catastrophes. The weather has been very, very different in some parts of the country, not so much in ours. And so, everybody's going through what they need to go through for growth. So if anybody out there is complaining and woe is me, always remember, and people say this, that someone is worse off than you are, but it doesn't take the sting out of whatever we're going through anyway. That doesn't, so what? Whoever is in pain, whether it's your knee, your leg, your arm, or whatever, it's pain and it hurts. So whoever or whatever people are going through, it affects all of us. And don't ever think for one moment that we are free of suffering because other people is happening to them and not to us. It's affecting everyone, So let's get into the show. I am very, 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 very honored and happy to introduce today's guest. She is a gallery owner, a curator, an independent curator, and her name is Carla Goldberg. I want to tell a little bit about her before she comes on. Wait just a minute. Carla, who I just found out, she was born and raised here in LA, grew up in Palm Springs, had been around water her whole life, and decided that theme stuck with her. And she started on a path of working with resins and plexiglass and becoming this really, really very, very famous artist. She's exhibited all over the world. Istanbul, she's been to Germany, she's been to France. I mean, so many countries I cannot name, you guys. I'm staying real shy of listing everything because it's like all of these pages of information that she has done. She's a mentor. She's mentored me. She runs the Bar Gallery, I think, in Beacon, New York. She is a part of actively helping emerging and successful artists, and is one herself. So let's bring her on. Carla Goldberg. Hey, Carla.
Hey. Thank you so much. What a nice time. Get to spend an afternoon with you.
Awesome. Yeah. And that's a piece of hers, you guys. Behind her head is her piece, if you can see it. It reminds me of a foam on top of water when it's that white foam. It's so pretty because it's so white and with the glistening sun on top of it. So tell us a little bit of Carla about, number one, what is art these days? What is art? Where are we going? What do we do?
I think that because everything seems to be reinventing itself, that art is everything, anything, sometimes nothing. I think it's a time of reinvention, and it's a scary time for people who are running galleries, and in terms of making money, but it's also a really interesting time. I think there's a whole lot of stuff going on, trying different materials and different ways of getting art out into the world. That's for galleries as well as artists.
Mm-hmm. And that's interesting that you say that. It's interesting times. And I think I was having a conversation with someone this morning that, for some reason, we don't want to look and see that things have to change. Yeah, some foundations will remain, But we haven't come from the 18, 17, 1600s to all the way to here. If things hadn't changed, we'd be still in horse and buggies and things like that. And every time there are shifts in our society, it's hard, it's difficult to get people to shift along with the changing times. We stay stuck. And so you and I were talking the other day. The word curator, in my opinion, I get a little upset when people take things and don't credit where they come from. It's like you've spent your whole life working, building your nails, knuckles, bleeding in your side of your mind and your heart,
Right.
making art. And then some little whippersnapper or somebody comes up and says, "Oh yeah, I like that. Let me take it. Let me,
Yeah.
oh,
And
I like
yeah.
that. Let me just take it." And I don't have to do the work. And that's why they're not living as long either, in my opinion, because they're not really doing anything. So some of them, not all of them, and I mean that some people are just stuck in time. So the word curator used to mean what?
So the word curator used to be the person who brought the artists together, designed the show. Sometimes they were artists themselves, but usually they're the people who are running galleries or taking a concept and taking it to a gallery or a space to exhibit the work. These days, okay, so in the past, it was like you were a curator or you were an artist. Um, I've been both. I continue to do both. I think these days, it's a matter of finding what works for you. There's a lot of different ways of getting your art seen. And for me as an artist, because I am always an artist first, um, I I kind of fell into curating. It was really interesting to see the other side of the business. And it was a different way of meeting other curators and being taken more seriously from the get-go because, an artist meets a curator, immediately they know an artist wants something from them. But if a curator is meeting another curator, you're seen as equals. And what you have to say, what they have to say, it just seems to flow differently. You're taken a little more seriously, sometimes to the point where they will not consider you an artist. And I used
If
to,
you're a curator, they don't
if you're
consider
a
you.
curator because they met you as a curator. So I used to, the gallery that I ran in Manhattan, um, the first number of years I would curate shows, I would curate artists, I'd bring them from overseas as well as pretty much the New York tri-state, Hudson Valley area, my network. And I, you're meeting other artists. And that's great because that forms a network. But the last couple of years I did it, I started curating curators, which means that I would turn the gallery over to guest curators.
Mm.
And oftentimes, because they met me in the capacity of being a curator, they wouldn't take me seriously. But I used to always make sure that I brought a piece with me on hanging days while we were installing the artwork that was almost done. And whenever there were breaks, they'd see me sitting in the corner working on it. It was usually a drawing. And then I would see them in the corner Google me. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh, wow, she's an art was. She's a busy artist. And yeah, so actually one of my best long lasting friendships is from one of those curating
Situation.
situations. And to this day, and even though the gallery that I had in Manhattan is long gone because of course the neighborhood changed and this building was sold, to this day we still work on projects all the time. She considers me one of her artists, and sometimes she's looking for artists and I'll refer her to artists that I've seen. So it's a really nice continuing relationship. Yeah, so in terms of curating, pretty much anyone can curate now.
Oh.
And in terms of putting together artists for a show. But it's a matter of where is it going to be? How are you bringing this story together? Because every single curator, no matter if you gave 10 curators the same artists, just the way they hang the show is going to be completely different, because it's about creating a story and a relationship between one piece and another.
Oh, yeah.
But you were talking about people stealing your work, and that's a totally different thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I've run into that. And I've had a situation where, it would take me a lifetime, literally a lifetime, to come up with an idea and really fully
work it.
flesh it out and work it for years.
Work that idea out.
And then suddenly someone else comes along and they're not just copying it. I mean, my materials they're non-traditional, right? So, I use resin and ink and certain types of paints on plexiglass, and it deals with light and shadow. So we're talking about like 6 or 7 things that they've now taken that are exactly what I do. So there's no doubt that they're using it as reference, and they're using it. But I did have a situation where there was someone who was copying it exactly. And then the second that I talked about, cutting and shaping plexiglass, we were in the same gallery together, and she's like, "Oh, I got it. I'm conversation." Got a phone call. The director had to say to her, "Oops,
okay.
Wait a minute." When someone sees this artwork, what do they think?
Bring your head down just a little, Carla?
All right. Do they think of Carla Goldberg, or are they thinking of your work? And they had to have this whole conversation about, it's okay to refer to an artist, but it's another thing to take the whole thing. There was a situation where there was a glass artist who started copying Chihuly, Dale Chihuly, who's very, very famous.
Sweetie, bring your head down just a little, because it's covering your down. Come down some. There we go. I want to see the top. There you go, right there. Okay, go ahead.
So Dale Chihuly could have gotten very upset, and he said instead, "Well, that just makes my work more expensive. My prices are going up." So I think it's important to have conversations with artists when you see this happening. Make it a teaching moment, because sometimes people don't understand the difference between playing with an idea and directly taking of a whole idea.
And what is there to protect the artist from having their work with? Because AI, there's no regulations and all that. They don't have.
I know, it's really, really difficult. But if you're photographing your work, there is a timestamp on every photograph that you've ever taken on the phone. So if you ever actually had to go to court, you can show at the very least, the timestamp on the photograph of that it's your work. And in the old days before the law started to change, and artists used to use slides, we used to mail to ourselves a bunch of slides of our work unopened. So if we ever had to prove the age of something,
poor man's copy is what they used to call it.
Right. We could always take it to court. It would be opened in court with proof of the date, because it was on the stamp.
True.
The world of borrowing, of using, it's gotten much more difficult. The laws have changed. There's even a thing about abandoned art. Someone can claim, "Oh, I found work on the internet, and there was no way of finding who the original person was." I've had numerous instances where, on like Facebook or Instagram, someone is using my actual artwork as their icon.
Oh.
And I will contact them and say, "You don't have permission to use that. That is actually my artwork. I'm the owner of it.
And what did they say?
Oh, well, I didn't know. And I said, well, this is a teaching moment. Usually, if you just reach out to the artist and ask them if you can use the image, they'll either say yes, maybe they'll let you use it for free. Usually they'll say,
Most artists want the exposure, yeah.
Yeah, just make sure that you've got my name on there. Sometimes they'll ask for, a little payment, but you have to be proactive. I did have a show once where a friend of mine contacted me. She's like, you didn't tell me that you were showing at such and such a gallery. And I'm like, well, I'm not. And I looked up the artwork, and it was the same person who who was making work like mine.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we had a mature discussion about it. She apologized profusely. It worked out. That conversation worked out because I knew the person. But I've had instances where it's people who I don't know who are using my work. Someone else was doing a school project in Asia. It was, I think it's somewhere in China. And they had used my seafoam drawings as an inspiration for designing cities. I thought it was really interesting, but it had taken off on the internet. And so he did take the time to find me, to reach out to me and say, is it okay? I didn't realize it was going to go that far. I'll take it down if you want. And I said, something, first of all, I think this is super, super cool. Just, if you just will put my name on there as, inspired by the original work from Carla Goldberg, I'm happy.
That's right.
Yeah.
Going back to what you said about how you do your work, when you are going into your studio to do a piece, and I want to partner that question with, what do you do when you don't want to go to the studio and do a piece? You got a million pieces laying around, and you need to get those done, and then other things budding and all of that. What is your process from the time you have the piece starts going in your mind? Okay, I'm getting ready to do it. It's coming out. And then you go in the studio and you work that Carla Goldberg magic. And what is the process? Do you plan ahead of time? Do you just walk into the studio? Do you have all your materials laid out? Do you pick your colors ahead of time? Do you just go to the canvas or to your plexiglass and say, I'm going to throw it down just the way it's coming out raw?
I am so split right down the middle between haphazard and completely planned out. The thing about the way that I work is I don't work in just one series, but all of my work deals with memory and water in movement. So as long as it relates to those, I'm good. And I never know where the inspiration for something new is going to come from. Usually what happens is that I'll have a deadline either for a solo show or usually it's for a solo show come up, or a lot of my experimentation time is in the winter, just because there's tends to be fewer shows. And with that deadline, it'll help me focus 10 different ideas, and I'll start trying out a number of them until I see, 2 or 3 that are becoming interesting to me. And with that date coming up, narrowing it down so that I can end up with a whole statement that goes up on a wall. Mm-hmm. And I do really enjoy the process of experimentation and diving in. If it hadn't been for the kind of personality I have, and working with Bow Gallery at one point where you had a solo a year, And I would make a completely new body of work every single year for the solo. It was kind of, I mean, it really pushed me. And it was kind of like going to grad school year after year after year after year. Huge leaps from one year to the next. And there's no way I'd have ended up with like the series that's behind me, or another series that I do constantly, which is Ripple Effect, which is all about a ball, a very colorful ball being dropped into water.
And then it ripples out.
And then it ripples out. And that is based on a memory of my little girls dropping balls into a little kiddie pool. But the idea for doing that came from having to create an out-of-the-box idea towards a theme for a show, which was ball. And I tried 4 different ideas. And this one, there's no way I would have ended up doing it naturally on my own. But it's something that carries, that series and Seafoam carries everything else that I do. If you put them side by side, they do not look like the same artist. I am fine with that. It's part of my personality. But and interestingly, they both have different markets. And I think, you know.
So you're multidimensional, because you know, some artists, you helped me with that, because you remember, and I said, I know, but every time I do something, it comes out different. And even though I've tried to do the same thing, it just won't come out. But I do have those things that I keep doing. It's some kind of thing. And you explained to me why. So you're the same way. So you understand artists that are like that have that dual kind of thing going on.
It's, I think the process of making art, it's doing it, it's making it, and observation. I think with every single piece that you do, really study the end piece. And then you have to put it aside and come back to it later. And I've gone back to pieces that I did 10 years ago, and I will see something new in it that spurs another idea. Also, just, you know, going about your business, going about life, you never know what's going to spark an idea. Like the Seafoam happened literally because I was doing a series of female figures, and I was working on a lot of different layers of resin and drawing and painting between all the different layers. And this white oil ink that I used, the pen exploded. I kid you not. And I was like, what? It's like, that looks like spit.
That looks like foam.
No, it's not spit. It looks like Seafoam. And then I started playing around with that idea, which happened to coincide with needing the next series for a solo. And I've been doing this series now since 2011, I think.
And every time you do it, you get another side. You feel another part of it. There's another level of it comes out. Another.
I mean, even right now, I'm playing with a different size and shape. You know, I used to work a lot larger, but you bring into your artwork whatever your circumstances are. I, for years, had a truck, and right now we just have a little car.
Little get around.
So a little beater up car. So we are. Every time I work now, I'm thinking in components. So if I want to make a big piece, I need to make sure that each part of that piece can fit in the car.
Okay, gotcha.
I don't want to have to spend the money to go and rent a van. It works out. I mean, you know, the ripple effect pieces, they expand to cover huge wall space, but each panel is only 15 inches by 15 inches, which fits perfectly into a medium-sized pizza box. So every time I go to deliver artwork, I walk in with tons of pizza boxes briefly people are really excited, like, ooh, pizza party. And I'm like, no, that's how it works.
There you go. Food and music. Food and
Yeah.
music. That's how to get them through the
Yeah.
door.
So
But
I
listen,
think that
go ahead.
wherever you are in your creating of artwork, just open yourself up to the possibilities and what are your limitations and how do you work around that. If you don't have a lot of money, then find materials that don't cost money, like
From Home Depot.
from Home Depot, but also I'm working on a series right now that is 100% on reclaimed plexiglass. So when we had COVID and all the businesses had their COVID shields up, well, those came down. What were people going to do with them? And I just started going around to businesses and collecting them. And they're scratched. They've got all kinds of weird things on them, but I let that inform the piece.
Mm-hmm.
And that actually, all of the scratches becomes part of the piece. So can I do a seafoam drawing on it? No. But I can do something else, like maybe it's a seafoam drawing and I cut around all the bad parts, or maybe I'm spray painting and carving into the piece and doing different
ways.
Yeah, different ways. So, but you want to know how my brain works? That's how it works.
I love how your brain works. When's your birthday?
August 29th.
Okay, so you're a Virgo. You got the Gemini. I knew it had that.
Yeah.
I knew you had some Gemini because in my mind, I'm like, she must be a Gemini or she must be a Virgo. Somebody has that dual thing going in their mind. You know, they got those two sides working. And most Virgos I know, Virgo, really briefly, Virgo is one of the only signs that when their period, their cycle was here, I don't know, they took over the internet. It was like Virgo this and Virgo that, and if you're Virgo and Virgo women and blah 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 blah. I'm like, they are getting all of this attention. What is going on with them, you know? But the ones I know are extremely bright. They can be extremely critical of themselves and others, you know, and they just like
extremely
things done
critical,
right.
yes.
Yeah, right. Yeah, they like things done right. You know, if it's incorrect, they want to perfect it. If it's not perfect, they want to make it perfect. So they're really good analytical people. I like the way their minds think because it's rapid and it's quick and it's fast and it's reasonable and it's common sense and bright, you know.
Yeah. And you know what, I find that I'm a messy Virgo, but I know where things
you're the
are.
messy kind.
And one time, so my husband's family, they live overseas, and my mother-in-law and my sister-in-law, they were trying to do me a favor and cleaning up my studio, and it was so beautiful when I walked in and everything was put away. For months, I was calling them overseas. Where's this? Where's that? I'm like, I need my chaos. So
well, it's a way for you to make it perfect, for you to clean it up and clear it up. It's a way for you to use your fine mind to go in there and straighten it out and make sense of it. But let's go back to
it goes on canvas.
Yeah, I know. Let's go back to what we were talking about, or what you were talking about. How does an artist, an unestablished, but you know, emerging, meaning they're out there doing the work, you know, they're doing the shows, whatever the work they have to do. How do they earn money right now? Especially with the holidays coming up, with people losing their jobs, with galleries closing in some respects. I like to think as an optimist, when everything is going dark, there are things going light, because I'm an optimist. So whenever things are bad, you can see opportunity at the same time. But what would you tell someone of that?
There are some people who are making money by posting their work on Instagram. They're being their own promoter. There's so many different places that you can put your artwork up.
What are some of the
all right,
some of the ways?
There's a website called Saatchi, and it's related to the big, huge London gallery in Saatchi. I'm not on it because I'm rarely on my computer and it doesn't support
you don't need to be
being on my phone.
You already
but there are a lot of different places. You know, there's art sites all over the place. You do have to read the fine print. You don't want to get taken. And an informed artist is a smart artist. And
What kind of artist?
an informed artist.
Oh, informed artist. Okay.
Informed
You said a
artist is
foreign
smart.
artist. I'm like, what?
No. There are a lot of galleries that are out there that want to take advantage of you. They're scam galleries. If they're asking you for a lot of money, they're making their money promoting artists, not on selling art. And for the most part, any of the galleries in Manhattan, if you have those galleries on your list, they know what it is, and they won't take it seriously. I find that some of the better ways of starting is find an art group that you can join in your area. There's a lot of art centers, and it might cost a little bit, like a membership every year. It's usually a little less, and oftentimes, if you really don't have money, they will help some artists out with the cost of it. But they almost always have a yearly juried membership show.
Yeah, they do.
And those usually don't cost money or very little. It does get people up and seeing your work. Look around for local craft shows. Look around for artisan shows. Look around for holiday shows, just to get a little bit of money going. There's no problem with Etsy. But there's a certain kind of work that people are more interested in on. I mean, I have a series that's much more kitsch. It's just jellyfish drawings. And I keep those really inexpensive. I don't really put those in galleries. It's more for
private showings, maybe.
Holiday shows, because it's an easy grab. Anything, I'm just like, anything that gives me some more art supplies. All right. But always make sure that whatever it is you're making, that you're enjoying it. If you're hating the artwork you're making, twist it around, find some other way of doing it. I don't think in the end, making it all about money is going to be the thing that
makes you happy.
That makes you the happiest. I think that if you're doing what you really love,
the money
oftentimes it will find where it needs to be. I find, because I'm in with galleries right now, but a lot of the galleries that I was with, they're closing their doors. They're trying out new things. They're going on artsy. They're having to reinvent themselves. So I ended up finding that my work did very well in the design business.
I can see that. I can see that showrooms. Yeah.
So my phone call again.
Make sure you pull it down so we can see your face.
For hotels and
hospitals
and things like that. You have to be in their registry. So, and there's quite a few. Somehow, I don't remember where I applied. Excuse me. I applied to one, and all of a sudden it got shared.
By somebody at the gallery shared it?
No, it was, I don't know if it was someone at one of these art placement firms. It's hospitality art placement firms. And pretty much I end up with at least one a year. And it pays pretty good. And I don't hate it. I actually really enjoy the collaborative process. Maybe it's because of all the years that I also was a curator, but I don't mind it when a client says, I need, this size, I need this kind of coloring. Can you make it similar to this? Actually, they usually want that or a copy of it. I'm like, I don't copy. These are all original pieces of work. And I try to explain to them, it's not like with the seafoam, it's not just drawing. I'm also using resin.
Yeah.
And resin,
Expensive.
I've gotten very good at aiming it, but resin, it's kind of like trying to juggle honey. And so when I put the
It's
resin on,
sticky, huh?
it's gonna go just so far, and it's a material that flows. It's a liquid. So I have to constantly interpret that piece, but I can just keep sending them photos as I work. And I've never had one go, nope, sorry, we don't want it. And what's nice about those is that commissioned work, any kind of commissioned work, they give you money up front for a portion of it. So your
Then you
materials
get the
are covered.
balance.
And for that part, it's non-refundable. So I am not going to be out of materials if they decide, out of money for materials, if they go, no, we're going to cancel it. And I don't have to make a gazillion pieces. I don't have to haul a bunch of pieces for a show, or when the show is done, having to haul a show back, which is the saddest part.
Let's get our sponsor in here, not to interrupt you, but we'll be right back. Let's get our sponsor again. Senior real estate and probate specialist Kevin Pike of Coldwell Banker, 818-571-1508. Look at the little fish. He is the senior real estate and probate specialist there. He is an expert in his field, a wonderful human being, and will help you live in the best possible way, whether you are getting in a house, going out of a house, or whatever. He's a wonderful person. So back to our guest, artist, curator, and phenomenal Carla Goldberg. Hey, Carla, in her Goldberg Art Studios. So, Carla, I want you to rewind just a little bit.
Sure.
You work with glass, plexiglass, and all that.
Plexiglass. Yeah.
Okay.
I tried glass, but I am really clumsy and I broke too many pieces.
Oh.
So plexiglass.
And that is your medium. And that's all you work with, or do you use other medium? Because some artists will say, oh yeah, my medium is like, I rip fabric and I stick it to canvas and that's my medium. I use teared up materials and all that. And they stick to that. Does it ever change for you, or is this just the series that you're working with right now?
The plexiglass is the material I work on top of. The materials that I work on top of that do change. Most of the time it's resin and ink. Sometimes, it's a lot of drawing. Sometimes it's resin and paint, maybe resin, paint, and ink, found objects. The jellyfish actually doesn't have any resin at all. And they did when I first started doing them, and then I ended up liking it more without the resin. And I started to feel really guilty about using plexiglass. So I've started really turning with any new series towards using reclaimed plexiglass. Or at least something in it is reclaimed. Like what I started doing with ripple effect, because the color has always been from nail polish. And the reason I use nail polish, first of all, the colors are beautiful, but because it was a memory of my daughters. And if you're a mom of daughters, you usually have a lot of nail polish. And it was about the time spent with them, the really fun time with them, and the ball dropping. So I wanted to have something in it that was reclaimed. And I started going around to nail salons and asking them if they had any colors that they were getting rid of. And
or throwing away half-used bottles and stuff.
Yeah. And so they were happy to give it away to me. Most of it is kind of muddy colors. So I use it, I mix it in with other colors. I actually had to get, one of the gel drawing, the LED thing.
Yeah.
And, but it worked out perfectly because I'm just working on like these half balls, so I can still cure it. But it was just like is there something that I can do that helps the environment? Something that I guess relieves my guilt a little bit. You know, when it comes down to it, any materials that an artist is using, unless they're using their body and like earth, they are creating a carbon footprint. No, if you're an artist on paper, there's a carbon footprint. There's the trees that get cut down. If you're using paint, there's all the chemicals. If it's oil based, there's minerals in it that are mined. If it's acrylic, there's a plastic base to the material. So it's just about being more conscious of the materials I use. I never throw plexiglass away. I have buckets of cut up little shards of plexiglass that at some point those will go into an installation piece or a mobile. I try even over pours of resin. That'll end up later on in another piece of art, or cut up and then throw back into the balls that I pour, because it'll disappear in the resin. When we were changing the light years ago, when we changed the light bulbs in the house from incandescent to the energy saving LEDs, there wasn't anything wrong with the bulbs. They still work.
So you used them?
What I did was I crushed all of the glass.
And then made stuff.
And for years, I was sprinkling that glass into the resin to create sort of like a frozen crystally look. Yeah. So
like something running in the river, in the water.
Yeah. So that's why I say, if as an artist, you don't have money for materials,
it's
look
waste
around you. I mean, you could just
Jean-Michel Basquiat. That's what they did.
Yeah.
They went out in the trash and digging stuff. And I know how that feels when you're an artist. I didn't go in the trash because I wanted to go in the trash. But when I started feeling like I wanted to do something, whatever that feeling was, it drove me to the trash.
Yeah.
It drove me outside. And then I would be walking, and I'm sure you've had this experience. I was walking one day. There were literally these like 5 pieces of beautifully squared brick, clean, like brand new, laying on the ground in a row. I'm looking around like, well, did somebody drop them or whatever? I picked them up, and that's how I started painting on brick.
Yeah. Yeah.
I said, I'm going to paint on brick.
You should go on walks. You never know what you're going to find. Our town, there's towns across the country where, there'll be a trash collection for all of the bigger objects in your garages and stuff. It's prime time to go and just, you never know.
You're an artist, Carla. Like, look, that's where you're going to find all the stuff.
There's prizes out there.
Found a whole bunch of art stuff. Like, I found a whole bunch of stuff. I didn't even have to pay for it. I went down the street. I know people that collect their furniture in their home from going in the community because people throw away brand new things. They just get tired of it, looking at it. They don't want it anymore. They got something new. It's really interesting, that concept, that people do. I want to ask you another question.
Sure.
Do the newest form of art? I'm having a whole panel. I think I mentioned this to you on my show next week. Of Texpressionist. Texpressionism is like expressionism, but it's Texpressionism.
Yeah.
So it's the latest movement in art, where they're taking music and digital work and then applying sound and technique to it, and then that's the art part of it, where it's moving and all this stuff. Karen LaFleur is one of our office artists that does Texpressionism. Where do you think the direction of art, like, will there be still art, or will there be artists, and will the galleries still be functional? Can we still make some money? I mean, what's going on around here, Carla?
If I counted, if I got paid for every time an art critic said, painting is dead, I'd be very rich. Things become their own forms.
They find their way.
And I think that broadening the ideas out there is excellent. I need to think about, like, there's a lot of people who are really upset about AI okay, there's the people who've invented AI, but man, when you put it in the hands of artists,
Woo.
amazing stuff is happening. Amazing stuff will continue to happen, but that doesn't mean that it replaces painting. It doesn't mean it replaces sculpture. It doesn't mean it replaces anything else. It just becomes a bigger part of the
It
whole
becomes
creative
it finds its
lexicon.
place.
Yeah, yeah. So I
It's
don't think
find
that
its
people
place.
should worry so much about AI. I mean, if it at the moment it should be labeled as AI because there's a lot of people thinking something's real
That it's not.
and it's not, especially in terms of politics. We won't get into that, but it's not any different labeling something AI as it is, when you hang an artwork up in a gallery. That label always tells you what it's made out of. So
Supposed to.
it's not a problem. I don't understand people having a problem labeling something AI. Okay, it's AI, and this is a painting, and that behind me is a mixed media drawing. So,
And it looks like AI. Anybody
yeah,
that has had a human experience, if you've been even close to another human being, you can spot AI because it looks mechanical.
yeah,
It looks technical. It
yeah,
looks like somebody intentionally did something versus a normal human being with all its flaws and all of its misbehaviors and all of that. That's what a human is. Somebody
yeah,
that's imperfect. We're,
yeah,
AIs are we don't have perfect people.
yeah.
People are not perfect. So if you see things that look so, oh, it's flawless and all that,
With
it's
well,
usually
flawless with 6 thumbs at the moment, but yeah, I think, yeah, I'm excited to see all of the new ideas
technology.
coming out, and
You're smart, yeah.
what happens when it gets into the hands of artists.
Of the right people.
Um, it's amazing. I mean, when it comes to music and video, boy, I really miss MTV when it was actually about music videos. I mean, can you imagine the amazing videos we'd be seeing now if MTV had remained a music video station and there was this continuous outlet for
expression,
all of
for artistic
all of
expression.
those amazing video artists, the things that we'd be seeing now. So I welcome all of it.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Carla,
it's
we're
exciting.
going to have to wrap it up. I'd love to talk to you longer. I want you to tell us, everyone out there, don't you love her? She's so interesting. You're so warm in your heart. I love that. Because a lot of people are like, oh, I'm a professional artist and I've been here and I've done this and that and worked with the queen and the king.
Yeah, I
and
believe in sharing information.
I'm not going to tell you anything. See, I'm not like that. But anyway, but where can we reach you? What are your digital digits, baby girl?
My Instagram, Goldberg Studio Art. My website, carlagoldberg.com. I try to keep it simple. I'm on Facebook, not often, but yeah, you can find me on Facebook as well, just under Carla Goldberg. And yeah, I'm in a number of galleries. You can find me on Artsy, and
she's everywhere, you guys, everywhere. It's like meeting someone that is like the supreme of the elite of the people that work constantly. I've never heard you complain like there's no work. You're like, look, I'm going to find some work. That's how I feel. I'll find it. I'll find some work. I'll find it. Don't worry. I'm going to sniff it out.
Yeah.
So that's wonderful. And then do you have anything else, last words to say before I announce everything and we get out of here?
Make art. Just keep doing it.
Do your thing.
Do your thing and be happy about it.
And there's no age or limit as to when you're supposed to when you're supposed to blossom and all that, right? No.
I can't believe I'm even going to say this, but yeah, I just turned 60 and I'm not done.
You could have. You look young.
I got a lot more art
50
in me.
years old backwards. Go 10 backwards. That's what all the great philosophers say.
My brain is still in its 20s, so as long as my hands are working and my brain is working, I'm good.
And if you happen to not go into the studio all the time, that's okay. That's a part of the process. You said, yeah.
It is, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
And I spent a lot of time searching out venues and searching out ideas, and I'm on the computer more than I am in the studio. You can only be in the studio for so many hours, but it takes a lot more time to find venues to see your work. So when
and you just call people up and you find the list of venues in the area and you go and call them up, or go there, you physically go there. Is that better?
It's a mixture of things. I've spent a lifetime making relationships, friendships, things get recommended.
Mm-hmm.
I also actively look for spaces because I don't currently have a brick and mortar gallery anymore. I just finished a curation that just came down in New London that was all about artists who use unusual materials, and it was covered by D. Dominic Lombardi, and that he did a critique of the show for New Art Examiner. So you can find that there, The Unusual Suspects.
Oh,
that
wow.
was the name of the show.
Okay.
And I'm getting ready for a solo in March at, oh boy, forgot the name of the place.
Working artists, people.
I don't have
working artists. We got to roll out of here. That's why you've been talking a while. Listen, we're going to roll out. Don't forget about me. I cannot do this without you. I need the numbers. I need you to look on my channel and see who we got, because we got some cool people coming on, some cool people we have had on. And I am here to bring it to you and give it. I don't hold back on the energy. I bring it. You get to feel the energy we have. You get to feel it. It's not like, oh, I'm some, oh, hi there, and I get to talk. You know, we don't do that. My Instagram is Osiris_Munir, MUNIR_ the painter. Look for me. I'm a writer and an author and a painter. That's my piece in the background. I will change it up at some point. And who else do I want to thank? I love you. I love you for who you are, that you stand brave and strong in the mirror every day and say, I can do it, I can do it, I can do it. And then I like you for being, putting up and dealing with all the adversities and challenges that we face every day as artists and as human beings in general. It takes a brave heart and a strong will to get through adversities and things that are a problem. And I would not be here at this station. I want to thank Sam Hassan, the station owner, for allowing me to shine. And thank you for supporting me every bit of the way. You know my story. So I love you for doing that. Thank you so much, Sam. And don't forget about yourself, to pat yourself on the back and tell yourself how wonderful and great you are, despite the fact that nobody else does. Because what you do that cannot be seen in the light matters. Don't forget, cause and effect is real. So make your good causes in the dark, and the effect will be seen in the light, I promise you. Till next time, we'll be back next week with some guests. Let's thank our guest, Carla Goldberg, artist, curator, for coming on and giving us your story and encouraging us to keep painting, keep writing, keep doing your thing. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Hi, thank you.
You're listening to The Osiris Munir Show, only on LA Talk Radio.